We're on the way now. All right, let's go ahead and get it started. Back here one more again. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. Pull up a chair. It's time to get down to the business. I know we're late night here. But a few things I wanted to cover. A couple of things I wanted to go over here. I might even open up the telephone lines. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. But wanted to go ahead and cover a few things here. I just had some stuff on my mind. So, of course, you're naturally inclined to join us here. Nice program here. I don't know, we're after business hours. All right. Gotta call it something. So, been talking with somebody here, and they got a lot of questions. So, I, of course, want to address those things. And I want to talk about the rules, man. Because right now, man, I mean, it's just a free-for-all out here. It's chaos. It's chaos because you don't have real men leading. You don't have real men in a commanding position. You don't have real men doing what real men are supposed to be doing here, which is, setting a standard for everybody to follow. So what you end up with are cornballs and goofballs sitting up here saying a bunch of stuff and venting on behalf of their whack-ass, lame-ass audience. And the real problem here is it doesn't work for you. So I want to talk about the rules tonight is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the rules. And it's just one of those things where folks want to know what you can do and what you can't. And one of the things I want to really drill home is this idea that you are just going to be able to get something for nothing. I need the fellas in particular. I need you all to let that go. This idea that you can be leader and at the same time you can do nothing, that's cornball as hell. It's cornball as hell. A leader is supposed to shoulder responsibilities. A leader is supposed to carry loads. A leader is supposed to be doing more and be more capable than the people under him. And every generation, the leadership is supposed to get better. That's how it's supposed to be. So, right now, you have a bunch of dudes who are acting more entitled than the females that they're complaining about because they're not ready. They are not ready. They're sitting out here trying to display their sexual prowess, and they're not ready, man. They're not ready. One of the things I got asked about was about having more than one woman. This comes up from time to time, of course. I mean, this is just, and to me, it's quite frankly, it's really kind of offensive for me, to be totally honest. It's really kind of offensive to me. Because the guys who spend the most time talking about this stuff are in no position to take care of one woman, much less to take care of more than one woman. Now, and shout out there to Black Jesus, SP, we appreciate that. Shout out to you here. Julius, I see you on the CashApp over there. So, yeah, I had to come back. I had to come back into the circle. And what I want to talk about is the fact that to the fellas now, we need to sit here and have a powwow for the fellas, man. Y'all can't treat life like some big ass amusement park where you're just here to sit up and see how many females you can tackle, because that is cornball as hell. You're supposed to be trying to leave your mark on the world. You're supposed to be trying to improve the environment. But can we just be totally honest with you here? Can we just keep it real here, fellas? A bunch of you are unwanted bastard babies And because of that, you are very lost. You're very upset. You don't have any direction. You don't see any leadership around you. You are scared to lead. Your mammy never prepared you to lead. There wasn't a man to help you with that. So basically, you become a male version of the low-life gutter females you were raised around. That's what you become. And instead of you actually demanding that you have a higher standard, that isn't what happens. So about this talk about having more than one female, let's be very, very clear. As a man, you have no business having a female if you are not capable, prepared, and driven to upgrade the environment around you. That has to be mandatory. Now, why does that have to be mandatory? That has to be mandatory because as a man, first and foremost, you have to be respected. You have to be respected. That's going to be a very, very important thing here. You have to be respected. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here. And in the chat room there, Kenneth Hawkins, you are required to call in. So the phone lines are open for you now. You have 2 minutes to go ahead and give us a call. If you do not, you'll be banned. Let's be very, very clear about this. If you don't call in, you'll be banned because, like I say, you know, the mama's boy routine, we're not having that. We're not having the mama's boy routine. So I understand a bunch of you here, you were buck broken by your own damn mamas. Your own damn mama sat up here and buck broke you. Your own damn mama set you out. Got you wearing your thong and your damn house slippers. Your own mama set you out. And so you spend your time whining. See, there's the problem that you really have. You sit in a group in a room full of grown men, and then you spend your damn time whining at them. You spend your time whining at other grown men and then sitting up here appealing to them to sit up here and have some sympathy on you and whatnot. What the hell? Nothing more pathetic than a grown-ass man sitting among a bunch of other grown men expecting them to sit up here and sympathize with him. You can tell full damn well the mama's boys who got spoiled their whole damn lives. You've been watered down and neutered, and now you're sitting among other men. Let me tell you about I need some sympathy. Nigga, we ain't got nothing for you but a boot up the ass. That's all we got. There's no sympathy for a grown man. Folks aren't sitting up here trying to figure out how they can feel sorry for you. Grown men sitting up here talking silly as hell. Let's be very, very clear. The majority of males throughout human history have not been able to pass on their genes. And this is good. Because they're not supposed to. Because the majority of humanity isn't trying to be progressive and improve the landscape. They're just, the point isn't for you to multiply. The point is, are you improving the environment? Are you fit to be improved? Are you part of the next generation that would be better than the previous generation? Not just, well, you know, I'm breathing, so let me live. No. If you are incompetent, you shouldn't be able to pass on your genes and reproduce yourself. So you can give birth to another little incompetent individual. No, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. And you damn sure shouldn't have two women to sit up here and spawn a gang of incompetent buffoons in your image. No, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. No, you shouldn't. You need to earn the right to reproduce. You need to prove that you are capable of improving the landscape and environment around you. And it's only some buck-broken, fruit-booty, Jolly Rancher thong-wearing Negro who wants to sit up here, you let me go in. No, you need to earn the right to do so. You need to demonstrate competence. Because a fella like that, if y'all want to know why it is, all these size 22 females who've been pregnant out here, and you saying, who the hell got them pregnant? You know damn well who it was. You know damn well who it was who got them pregnant. The losers. Granddaddy was a loser. Daddy's a loser. The boy's a loser. So he's just got to take whatever in the hell he can get, period. And he thinks nothing of it. Sad and damn pathetic, but no, you have been able, if you can't take care of one female and elevate her life, then there's no way in the hell you're going to elevate the children. And understand why that is important. A man's connection to his children is no stronger than the connection to the woman. If he despises the woman, he doesn't care about the children. And vice versa. We got somebody on the phone lines here. A caller from area code 702. You're on live with The Business After Hours. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? This is Dunamis. I'm calling from a rest area off the I-5 in Oregon. I'm a truck driver.
All right, Dunamis, what's on your mind?
All right. Yes, sir. You speak on male leadership often, even including this broadcast right here.
When you feel like you don't have any answers. So if you feel like you have no answers, if you don't feel competent, if you don't feel prepared and capable, then yeah, by definition, you are not going to want to do that. You're not going to want to do that if you feel that. If you feel that way, then by definition, you will not want to do that. So the first thing is you have to start, leadership begins with you, not with everybody else. You have to make a decision that you are going to become competent. Well, Jason, what do you mean by competent? Competence simply means that you have mastered something. Not you think, not you hope, but that you've mastered it. And from there, you gain competence in other areas. And hopefully how you do one thing becomes how you do all things. And that doesn't mean necessarily that, you're not perfect. Nobody is. But the bottom line is, if you're going to lead, you have to be the person that people call first. If they're going to call you first, that means you have to be capable. If you're going to be capable, you have to be competent. So how dedicated are you to being competent intellectually, emotionally, socially, financially? And take a look at your non-black counterparts. That's your competition.
Wow.
And you're going to have to challenge yourself. You're going to have to challenge yourself.
Sounds like a never-ending journey.
I mean, manhood always is.
Yeah.
And hopefully your next generation and your heirs will do better than you did. But yes, it is never ending. That's the point. That's why it's a heavy burden. That is why it's not for everybody. That is why you don't want a situation where the incompetent can spawn at this outrage. Well, they are really hating on us here tonight. They are hating on it for real here tonight. They cannot like it all they want to, though, but it doesn't change reality in that regard. So They are really, really big mad at me tonight here. So they've been hating on us super heavy tonight. And it's the middle of the damn night. So, most likely it's one of those alt-right dudes sitting up there at YouTube. This, I don't like this. You shouldn't talk like this. It's most likely one of the alt-right dudes in Silicon Valley up there at YouTube messing with it. You know how that goes. Let me get caller from area code 434. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason. This is Jay Higgs calling from Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right, Jay Higgs from Raleigh. What's on your mind?
Yes. So I just wanted a bit of advice from you. So, or maybe this might be better for your Patreon. I'm a member as well, but I lost my job a couple of months ago. And, took it kind of hard, and I've been trying to pick myself back up, in the hopes of becoming a producer, maybe not now, but, in the process of about 5 to 10 years from now. And I went to school for engineering, and it's been pretty difficult finding a job out here and everything. So I want to know, some thoughts or anything like that will help out.
Okay, well, first of all, what was it that you were doing that you got fired for?
I was an engineering technician at a manufacturing plant.
All right. Is that a skilled labor position or is that an entry-level job?
It was, I say entry level, but it was more like,
okay, did you have to go to school for that to get qualified for that job, or were you able to just apply and get it?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I had to go to school for that.
So you have a degree or a certification or something?
Yes, I do.
What do you have?
I got a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I minored in electrical engineering.
All right, well, you should be okay and straight, dude. You have a whole damn degree in engineering. What's the problem? You got a drug habit or something?
Hell nah. No, it's like the job market around the area is ridiculous, especially asking a whole lot for entry-level engineering positions. And it was a lot harder than I thought trying to get a job here. Again, I would prefer to stay around here, honestly.
In Raleigh?
So, yeah. Yes.
That's literally the first time I've ever heard that. I haven't really, an engineer shouldn't really be having any issues at all.
Yeah, I thought so too, man. Even one of my friends out of Virginia, when he tried to look for jobs down here, he was like, I'm not even sure I could get something. He got like a few years of experience already. It's definitely interesting.
Okay. Well,
and
what you definitely want to do is, like I say, if it's not going together there, and like I say, I'm not really sure what the problem is, but in the Carolinas, you have no shortage of places for that. So there's Charlotte, there's, Fayetteville. So you shouldn't be just restricting yourself to one place if it's not going together for you there. Then it's time to see about finding a place that's going to is going to do what you need for them to do there. Because my concern is, like I say, with a degree in engineering, that really shouldn't be an issue there unless there's something that is missing from your qualifications. What is it they're telling you that's missing?
That's the thing, is usually experience. I maybe have a little less than a year, ideally a year. They'd be asking for like 2, 3, 4, 5. I kid you not, for like damn near entry-level positions.
You need to broaden your job search, sir.
Mm.
I know you would prefer to stay where you are. That's a wonderful advent of the 21st century. But the idea that you can just stay in the city you are and you should have the same opportunities as everywhere else, that's just something that's happened in the last 30 years. Before then, when they call it the Great Migration, that was black folk leaving the South. It wasn't because they were running from white supremacy. White supremacy was everywhere in America. Lynchings were everywhere in America. White supremacist violence was everywhere in America. They went to Detroit and they went to California because there were better economic opportunities, not because they were safer. So it's only in the last 40 years or so that people have gotten the idea that they should have the same opportunities no matter what geographic location they're in. And that's just not true. That's just not true. So what you're going to need to do is expand. You can't limit it to just the Raleigh area. That's nice and everything, but you can't limit it to just there.
All right. All right, then. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here. Like I say, definitely you want to get comfortable and stuff, but you got to come out of your comfort zone. You got to go where the money is. You got to go where the money is. Got another caller here. Caller from area code 773. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Man, it's Zane from Chicago, but I'm in Darwin, Australia. What's going on, Jason? Man, I'm not too much time, though, because time zone difference and shit. But what I would like to say, man, I would say thank you, like always. Like, you've been a big, like, inspiration. I haven't talked to you in the last 2 years or so. I haven't even watched your videos in the last 2 years. You know, I've gotten into the Special Forces community. That's going good. Double my income. Started to invest as well. I'm going to say stuff is that as a young black man or as a man of color, you know, coming from Chicago or any man from around the country, is that you not be afraid to compete. I know there's one thing when I watch your videos and start being very competitive, no one in a lot of people just start not fucking with me, not liking me, not doing anything with me. The white boys didn't like it, none. And then when I start going on boards and competing just here for my own thing, like I got less. You'll notice a difference when you start winning shit. They start to turn to a very different way. So if you're highly competitive and you're a black man, they're gonna hate you, and that's okay. You gotta be comfortable with people hating you. You know, I watched your broadcast. The last time I watched a good broadcast was like, you got to turn to a jerk. And I think the first lesson was the world would abuse you if you allow it to happen. And that is true. Most black men are it's being great, young black man.
Well, thank you very much there. Like I say, your phone's digitizing a lot, so you're calling from a long distance away here, but I think we got the gist of what you're saying. I'm glad to hear that things are going well for you. I know it's not easy. The more competent you are, the more of a threat you obviously establish yourself to be, but don't be mouthy about it and, don't be confrontational about it. The best thing you can do is continue to improve, because what they know and what they can prove are two different things. But definitely stay in touch with us here. I'm glad to hear things are going well for you. Yeah, definitely as a black man, when you are successful, when you are succeeding, when you are doing well, yeah, absolutely, folk are going to come from you. They're going to come for you, both from outside the society and within the society. They're going to come for you. That's natural. The real thing is about you being built in such a way that you're ready for that you're prepared for that you're not looking for people to treat you like they're your friend. That's something in particular I got to break you all of the idea of. Oh, Jason be mean to people? No, it's just I'm not friends with every damn body who calls me up. I'm not friends with everyone. You see, I talk to grown men like they're grown men. It's like, okay, I'm not here to be buddies or pals or whatever. I'm here to get you trained up. It's like going in the military. The drill sergeant's not there to be your friend. He is there to get you straightened out. A lot of you, when you've been growing up under your mama and you've been coddled and you've been a mama's boy, you get it in your head that you can't work with people unless you quote unquote like them. Well, if they don't like me, then I ain't gonna work with them if I don't like them. The problem with that is the most competent people, the best people, the ones who excel, they might not be people that you quote unquote like. You can't choose their personalities, but it is in your best interest to find the best person that you can for what you need. And if you restrict it to, well, I can only deal with them if I like them, then you're going to find yourself in a hell of a bind for most of your life. Caller from area code 201. You're on live with the business after hours. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? This is Chris from Patterson, New Jersey.
Chris from Patterson, New Jersey. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got an issue. The problem I'm having is, I make six figures. I own two homes, and I got a full-time job. But the issue that I'm having is, finding the right woman.
Okay, are you the right man?
And I believe that I am because, I work hard. You know what I mean? I got my full-time job, and then I got I got two homes that I got it all rented out. And, but it's a little bit hard finding, the ideal mate. So, how can you help me out with that?
How can another man help you out with that?
Well, that's the reason I'm calling.
How can another man help you to find a woman? Interesting. I'm just trying to bring this to your attention so you recognize, do you see something wrong with just the very premise of that question? Do you see an issue there?
I'm just looking for the proper advice.
Right. And I'm trying to help you, sir. So the first thing I'm going to do to help you is I'm going to bring your attention to the fact that, do you see an issue with just the very premise of that question? Do you see what the issue is with that?
No, I don't. Not at this time.
Okay. Here's the first issue here, right? Let's just say, for example, you're calling saying, well, Jason, where can I find the best women at? Okay. The first problem with that is you're not supposed to be chasing women. You're supposed to be pursuing productivity, excellence, competence, and then women pursue you. If the women are not pursuing you, there's the problem. So what is it about you that is not attracting them?
Well, Jason, I go to the gym, I work out. Of course, I'm 6 feet tall, weigh like about 245. Muscular, but I drive a nice vehicle. I do make over six figures, but I do have a few females, but it's not something. It's not an 8 or a 9. You know what I mean? But I'm looking for something, up in that range.
Okay. I want to ask you an honest question here, okay?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay. You're 38 years old. Do you have any children?
Yes, I do. I have two.
You have 2 children. Have you been married?
Well, yes, I was married. I was back in over 7 years ago in Dominican Republic, but then I got divorced.
Sounds about right. And where the children live at now?
Oh, they live with their mom.
Okay. So why are you not still with her? And there's a reason why I'm asking. It's relevant to your current circumstances.
Oh, she's really, of course, I'm on child support, but she's really complicated.
Okay. You married her and gave her children.
No, I didn't marry her. I married a different woman in the Dominican Republic.
Are you divorced from the woman in the Dominican Republic, or are you still actually legally married?
No, I'm divorced. We got divorced like about 2 or 3 years after we got married.
Okay, you're divorced from a woman in the Dominican Republic. You came to the United States. You have an ex-wife in the Dominican Republic and a baby mama in the United States.
Well, correct, but I've been here for over 30 years.
Okay, that was a yes or no question. So you have an ex-wife in the
yes.
Dominican Republic, and you've got a baby mama in the United States.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Can you see why that would be unattractive to the majority of females you meet?
Correct.
Okay, and you understand why that would be a problem for them.
Yes.
Right. When you got on the phone, notice you didn't say any of all this stuff here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make you aware. You need to have some self-awareness of what the women see when they look at you, not what you wish they would see. Well, I want y'all to focus on my income and my car. Okay, we saw that. Now we focused on your obligations and these little shawties over here. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to do a sleight of hand. I'm gonna keep your eye on the car now. Keep your eye on the car. It doesn't work that way.
I agree.
You're trying to do misdirection, and ultimately it doesn't work that way because women have standards too. Women have preferences, and technically speaking, they would prefer to have a man who doesn't have any children so that all his resources are freed up for her. She doesn't really want to walk into a hassle if she can avoid it. So, and here's another thing. By you doing what you've done, what you've demonstrated is you are sexually reckless. You're not disciplined. Now you're trying to get a new female to let you, a reckless captain who has run the ship ashore before, run the ground before, you now want a new female to put you in charge of her vessel. That's what you're offering.
I'm listening.
That's what you're offering.
Yes.
Okay. How attractive of an offer do you think that's going to be? I mean, that there's the real problem. How old are the children?
4 and 6.
Okay. When did you break up with the baby mama?
About 2 years ago, when she took me to court, regarding the child support and stuff like that.
When was the last time you had sex with her? And be honest.
About a week ago.
Isn't that an amazing thing? I don't understand, especially you folks from the Caribbean. That's a crazy thing. These hoes will sit up here, ring you niggas with babies, put y'all on child support, and then give you the hey boo phone call, and you niggas just come lumping your way back over. Okay, I'm coming over. I mean, these hoes straight pimp y'all out, man, and y'all still be laying up with them. If you all want to know why it is that so many single mothers today talk crazy and feel like they are so entitled and so special, what's on the phone right here, this is why. Because they see that they can be straight up and down abusive to men, run you through the ground, drag you from the back of their car, and you will still come over and lay up with her if she calls you. I want you all to think about that for a
Correct.
minute. He got a couple of kids. He's on child support. He was complaining, since she put me on the child support 2 years ago. When's the last time you slept with her? 2 days ago? Okay. Obviously, it's not bothering you that much. It's obviously not bothering you that much. You need to try to figure out how to get back with her is what you need to try to do. And that would really be in your best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, whatever the distance is between you two is not that deep because you still over there. So it's obviously not that big of an issue. Because I'm
listening.
I'm just telling you that would be humiliating. I mean, if a broad had me on child support and think I'm ever gonna come through and lay up with her, it's like, who the hell you punkin'? But y'all, these dudes do that. They do it on a regular, boy. It's just whatever. And that's what gets y'all in trouble, man. You don't have any type of sexual control. It's just these females have you psychologically dominated. She's psychologically dominated you. I'm just saying this is a power dynamic, and she's throttling you. Like, she got you on child support. You basically are paying. And I know what you're telling yourself. Well, if I'm paying child support, I might as well get some ass out. Well, what the hell? She's pimping it both ways. She got the kids. She's getting the child support. And he's still laying up with her. And she laying up with somebody else. So you're paying for kids and you don't even have sexual priority with her. That's the crazy part. You don't even have sexual priority. And let's just keep it real. She only calling you because the other dude ain't acting right. And you know that. She's only calling you because she's on the outs with the other dude. That's the only reason she's calling you. As soon as she think that nigga gonna act right for 2 minutes, all of a sudden you ain't gonna hear from her anymore. Tell me I'm making that up. You probably had a good 6-7 month stretch where you didn't hear nothing from her, and then she just called you up. Hey, what you doing?
Well, not not really, Jason. But to be honest, she lives like 1 or 2 blocks away from my property.
I know. That's when you like. I got proximity. Here's the problem, dude. A female places a dollar value on her vagina by the value of the guy she sleeps with. Guess what, fellas? You do the same thing. And if a chick who sat up here and took you to court can still get you to lay up with her like that, that means something. That means something. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Going forward, this is the personality you possess. Regardless of your income, regardless of your personal self-image, regardless of your car, this is the personality you possess. And you don't have a commanding personality. You do not. You have a beta personality. And I'm not just saying that because of the baby mama. I'm talking about the way you speaking on the phone to me right now is real soft in your feet. There's nothing commanding about you. You're exactly the type you're exactly the type of beta male that these females know. This nigga will not care about getting me pregnant. And just think about this for a moment. So you making 6 figures right now. How much are you paying in child support a month?
Like about $250 a week, $1,000 a month
per child.
Oh no, for both.
Okay. When was the last time she went to court to get an adjustment?
No, and that was like about over a year ago. I think it was the first time, but I'm planning to go back so I can like seek some.
No, you can forget that. But the bottom line here is y'all got to understand he's still laying up with her because he's hoping he can distract her from that. And it's like, okay, if I can get her softened up, he's trying to distract her from that. But as her situation changes and those kids get more expensive, she's going to do what these hoes always do. She's going to go back and try to hit for more. Because every time you get a raise, as far as she's concerned, she gets a raise. Every time you get one. See, what happens here is these fellas go off and get these broads pregnant while he's still building. He's being silly and stupid and reckless. And these chicks know that because for a female, a baby is an asset. She can either get a check from the system or get a check out your ass. But a baby's an asset for her. So she has every incentive to do that. What it does, though, is it handcuffs you. So, yeah.
That's right.
That's a hell of a spot to be in. So, yeah, you make 6 figures, but dude, you got a baby mama who's on your ass. And you're approaching other females. What I'm saying is you don't have a commanding personality, man. You don't have a commanding personality, so your money is straight, but that's the only place that's straight. Now, if we're not going to count baby mamas, your money is straight, but that is it. Your personality is beta. Your social status is beta. Like right now, you're talking about, I own some properties and stuff. Well, that's great. That's wonderful and everything. That really, really is. Where are we going?
Oh, where are we going? Like, what's my plan for this year, 2022?
Where are you going to be in 7 years?
Well, for this year, I'm planning to buy another property.
Did you all hear what the hell I just asked this guy? I'm going to wait till the chat room checks in and hears that. Did y'all hear what the hell I asked him? And then did you hear what he said? Bruh, this is what I mean, man. It's like These slow, recessive dudes and these hoes just run them. They see y'all and it's just like, these chicks are ruthless. They'll find a little slow dude and be like, yeah, let me get a baby by him. Now, if men did that to women, they would be accusing us of assault, is what they'd be doing. But yeah. Sir, I asked you where are you going to be in 7 years, and you told me, well, this year. Where do you plan? I asked, where are we going? Where do you plan to be in 7 years?
Well, Jason, that's a long term. You know what I mean? I do things, year by year.
And that is why no woman is trusting you with her future. Because she thinks in decades. Because if she gets pregnant by you, she knows she's going to be strapped to that kid for 2 decades. And she's dealing with a dude who, it is so obvious, his mind doesn't think longer than 6 to 12 months. But he wants her to make a 10-year commitment to him.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm listening. Mm-hmm. So, what do you recommend, Jason?
Is you need to grow up, man. You need to grow up and turn into a damn man and be taken seriously. You need to have concrete plans, concrete goals. You need to have a 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, and 20-year goal in specific numbers. You need to develop competence. Making money is one thing, but you're not competent socially. And it shows.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
It shows with this stumbling, soft-spoken cadence in which you speak. Your thoughts are unsure and uncertain. You're a guy who's gotten lucky and is telling himself he's skilled. You've gotten lucky by getting some properties. I don't know how profitable it is. We're not even going to go into that. I don't even know if it's making any money for you. We're not going to go into that. What I will say is you're a guy who's gotten lucky and you're calling it skill. But right now, you are lacking being solid. You're lacking being competent. You don't have a vision. You're limping from 1 year to another. There is no overall plan. And any female who talks to you can see that's your personality without her finding out your income, your assets, or anything else. She can see this is your personality. Just by me talking to you, I'm dealing with a person who is winging it as he goes. And that's a problem.
Okay.
You have got to start being very definite and very concrete. A female understands that the most important decision she will make is the quality of the man that she gets with. She needs to know, is she dealing with a competent individual? Because if she gets pregnant by you, she doesn't want to end up like your baby mamas. She wants to know that she's going to a better place. She doesn't want to know that she's going to the same one. And everything you do communicates you don't actually know what you're doing. Now, when you actually know what you're doing, things will be different. For one, you ain't going to be sleeping up with old baby mama hoes anymore because you have a vision going forward and she ain't part of it.
Correct.
And you will understand and accept that that actually is denigrating you by laying up with somebody who's pulling money out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just straight pimping right there. But if you actually have a clue about that's where the deficiency is. So you need to become much more concrete. You need to have solid plans. You're buying properties, but you have no idea what to do with them. You don't have a goal for them. You're just buying things.
Rental properties.
Do you have a CPA, sir?
No, I don't. But
okay, that was a no. Do you have a banker, sir?
Yes, I do.
How long?
Since I bought my first house, for the last 4 years.
How much business have you done with them?
2 properties.
Valued at how much?
Over 600.
How much did you put down on that?
It was a FHA, first time home buyer.
Amazing. You first generation or second generation? Where were you born?
Guess I'm Dominican Republic.
You were born on Dominican soil, so you are a first generation immigrant.
Yes.
Okay. I want y'all to understand how the U.S. government does it. They bring these folks over here, let them have as many kids as they can on the landscape and whatnot to undermine the rest of us. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, this way to the banker. So understand, these things are engineered. It doesn't happen accidentally. They are shepherded and engineered into these positions. So when you hear me talk about the buffer classes, just understand, yeah, this is U.S. government policy to make sure that they're given an edge, to make sure that they are propped up enough, because that's the only way you can pollute the environment enough. They have to be propped up some. So this way to the banker. You were able to get an FHA, an immigrant was able to get an FHA loan. And you got foundational black Americans who can't get one. Think about that for a few moments.
Jason, may I speak? Because I don't want to interrupt you.
What is
it? With my job, I had to work hard. You know what I mean? I got over 13 years in my job, so, I had to work hard to save that money so I could get that loan. So it wasn't, build up my credit and do, so many different things. So
how much did you put down, sir?
How much did I put down? I had to have over $15,000 in the bank.
So let me get this straight. You worked 13 years to save up $15,000.
No, I have 13 years in my job, but for me to save that money, it was only about a year, and that's it.
Okay, sir, first of all, everybody works hard. So this idea that somehow you're some special case, that's really insulting to all the rest of the people working. There's nothing special about you. Everybody works hard, sir. We're the black folk who built this country. Nobody worked harder than us. You worked for 13 years. You should have had a lot more in the bank than $15,000. You just conceded. Well, I got that over a year or so. Okay, then you should have had a lot more. But here's the real issue here. I asked you, how much did you put down on those properties, sir?
Oh, the first property was $10,000.
You put $10,000 down on the first property, and what was the value of the first property?
Well, the value of the first property was $225.
Think about that for just a few moments, everyone. The value was $225. They allowed him to put down $10,000, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. With the closing cost.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And what year did you do that in?
Oh, that was 4 years ago.
So long after the 2008 financial crisis, long after the lending laws were supposed to be amended there. And yeah, they let him put down less than 10%. They didn't even require the 20. They allowed him to put down less than 10%. Less than 10%. Which really is not supposed to be happening anymore. They're not supposed to be letting them put down less than 10% anymore. They're supposed to put down 10% or more. They are allowing these immigrants to come over here. And y'all remember, I've talked to a couple of them now. They're talking about they were able to put down less than 10%. We can put down 4 or 5%. Think about that for a few moments. I just want you all to understand that in reality, they're not supposed to be doing that anymore. But yes, there are people that they're doing that with. There are lenders that are doing that, and they are doing that. Technically speaking, the regulations are not supposed to allow this. But yeah, sure enough, because if he's only putting down 5%, he hasn't got enough invested in it. Obviously, his income is not high enough to be able to pay for a $250,000 property. He doesn't make enough money to do that. And yet, they allowed him to do so. He's over leveraged. He's over leveraged. Don't tell me about your 6-figure income, sir. He's obviously over leveraged because if they took a look at how much money he made, they should have never allowed him to put down 5%. This is what caused the first subprime crisis. He's over leveraged, and yet if he made that much money, they should have required 20% down, and they didn't do that.
Jason, may I speak? I only started making the 6 figures after I had the property and I rented out, most of the units. So it was a combined income with my job.
Okay, so in other words, in other words, you're confirming what I said. On the first property there, you weren't even making 6 figures. So they never should have allowed. My point is, they never should have allowed that, and they know that. So that I'm doing this. I'm explaining this for the sake of the audience. So please stop interjecting. I'm explaining this for the sake of the audience so that they understand the government is making all kinds of concessions here for immigrants. They're going to make sure that they're propped up for the purposes of, they need to be viable to be a problem for us. So they'll make illegitimate kids and put them on the taxpayers and everything else. This is a government policy. They know what they're doing. They're selecting specific types of individuals, making sure that they flood the zone. So you have to have a buffer class that is given the resources that they need. Otherwise, they would just crash and fail like they did back in Dominican Republic. You got to make sure they don't do it here. So they spot them all kinds of resources that they do not qualify for, because the goal is to make sure that the descendants of the slaves don't make progress. So you got to prop up these other ones and make sure they're good, which means, you have to take all these risks. But no, you never qualify for that. You never should have been able to get that. You didn't qualify for it. You didn't have enough. You didn't put down enough. So be that as it may, you're way over leveraged with the bank. You're way over leveraged. $600,000 in properties. Now, on your second property, how much did you put down?
No. Well, that's the thing. The property that I bought, that I purchased, it's like a mother and daughter. So it's like 2 properties on one location.
Okay. Did you buy them at the same time?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. You just said, was that $250,000, sir? What the hell are you talking about?
The value of the property now.
Okay. I didn't ask about, okay, sir. I'm asking how much it cost, sir. I asked you how much it cost.
How much was the value of the property when I purchased it?
Yes, sir. What was the purchase price, sir?
Oh, $225.
Okay. And you purchased it 4 years ago.
Yeah, correct.
And you're saying that now the property value is almost 3 times that amount.
Yeah, correct. Because I just did a refinance last year.
Well, that's certainly a very good thing there. Hey, everybody, they're making sure the immigrants get theirs. Now, they're making sure black folk are getting gentrified all over the damn place, but they are making sure the immigrants are good. So, can't be mad at you there. They're making sure they're good. Well, the only issue here is you've dealt with, you have the bank, but you don't have a plan, and you're really going to need to, that's going to be the next thing that you need to have. You need to have a plan. As far as where you're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, what will the value of it be? Now, you're in, where at New Jersey are you at?
I'm in Passaic County, Patterson.
Okay. Especially being in New Jersey, by the way. New Jersey is supposed to have some hellified taxes. I bet you he's not getting hit for those either, by the way. But by the way, I just want y'all to keep that in mind. What you're lacking here is you don't have a team, so you do have a banker. My only thing is, like I say, at this point right now, you made one transaction, and you're talking about, I want to make another transaction. How much, how much deeper are you planning on going into debt here?
Maybe, but the homes are expensive now, so. Over 400 or 500.
They were expensive 4 years ago, but so now he wants to add another 400,000 on top of that. And about how much are you planning on putting down on a $400,000 property?
Maybe 30 or 40.
Now y'all hear him? He's saying maybe 30 or 40. So he's walking in the door saying, hell, I ain't got to put 10% down. Now, ordinarily, the premium mortgage insurance is supposed to be killing you. But he's like, hell, I'm good. So maybe 30 or maybe I'll put 10% down. Here's my thing about that. You know, like I say, with you putting down such nominal amounts, you do have cash flow. But my thing is you're going to have $600,000 in debt. And you'll only have put in $45,000 down. And then there's what you've been paying on it here. So while the properties are appreciating in value, the real problem is everybody knows we're at the height of the market right now. There's no telling what could happen. Now, I'm not expecting things to change anytime soon. I don't think that's going to occur. But if it did, just imagine that for a moment. You make a $400,000 purchase, and in 5 years, if the market reverses for whatever reason, and the value of that property falls to $300,000, you know, that's a hell of a spot to be in. That's a hell of a spot to be in. So you are getting cash flow out of it, and that's cool and everything. I'm not really thrilled about how leveraged you'll be on this. So that kind of concerns me. All things remaining equal, you really need to have a CPA and a banker. So your banker is willing to make you all kinds of loans you don't qualify for. So congratulations for that. If I were you, I'd probably be doing the same damn thing. The other thing, but the only issue is you don't have a CPA to help you plan out a strategy of what to do. Because the real question here is, okay, what do we do with these assets to maximize their value? And that's where a CPA comes in. Because you have the assets, but you don't know what to do with them. And you don't have a 5-year or 10-year plan. So having a CPA will be somebody you can sit down with, and they can help you to map that out.
Yes, Jason, I'm a patron of yours, and I've been, listening to you for the last over 1 year now. So, most of your advice, I have been implementing it.
Okay, well, now we need to implement the CPA part.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
You don't have a plan, so you gotta get that taken care of. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know. I'm gonna say it for you. By the way, Jason, I called originally because I wanted to know about, by the way, what do I do about the women's?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Yeah, and just in case you thought I'd forgotten, I didn't forget. No. So if I didn't forget it and yet I haven't said anything about it, what does that tell you?
Oh, that you remember?
Don't you think you've gotten in enough trouble with these hoes?
Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have.
And yet you're calling to find out how can you do more. I'm not going to advise you to go try to find another chick. You're a bad manager. Mm-hmm. The only thing that you're ready to do is get run by these northeastern broads. That's the only thing you can do, man. That's all. You're not an alpha. You're not a captain. You're not a leader. The only thing you can do is be a high income sucker, and now these chicks have their hooks off in your property. You are not mentally and intellectually capable of preventing these broads from running you. So I'm not going to put you in a position where you can sit up here and screw this up again. You're building up assets. All you're going to do, you're going to screw around and find some cute little Dominican or one of them Puerto Rican nasty ones or one of them Cuban ones or whatever. You're going to sit up here and do that. That's all
I
you're
think so.
gonna.
Yeah, you're right.
All you're gonna do is sit up here and do that. You're gonna grab one of these grimy Haitian. Okay, I need to quit that. But look, the bottom line is, dude, you know, all you're gonna do is get one of these Caribbean chicks, one of these Rihanna chicks or whatever. That's all you're gonna do, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get one of these down and dirty Dominican chicks, and she's gonna be rubbing all up on you, and you're gonna totally lose your damn mind because you are not on your square. All you can do right now is sit there and be took. That's all you can do. You're not gonna do anything different. You're not. You're not. You lay up with them.
I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna choose to do something different.
If you lay up with them, the only thing you're gonna do is they're gonna lay up with you long enough until you lose your damn mind, and then you're gonna sit up here and give them whatever they want. So the only way I would approve of you having a female right now is if you get a vasectomy. You do that, and I will sign off on it. But you've already shown that you're too easy of a mark, man. You're too easy of a mark. You don't have a dominant personality, which means the only thing you can do is get dominated. And for those of y'all who don't know, there are two types of females in this country who are super, ultra scandalous, okay? Number one is in that New York, New Jersey area, particularly New York. Them Dominican hoes are ruthless. And now niggas done gas their heads up so much, them hoes know. And you from the DR, so you know I ain't lying. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
50 Cent and all them dumbass niggas done sat up here and blew them hoes heads up. He said, keep saying hoes, you damn right. They done blew their damn heads up. The Dominicans are dirty. The Haitians are grimy. The Cubans are scandalous. The Puerto Ricans is raw. They're all waiting. They're all waiting. So in that New York, New Jersey area, but particularly New York, the closer you get to New York, the worse it gets. Man, them hoes are ready. While niggas talking about getting a non-black female, them chicks are ready all over the damn place. They coming off the damn boats ready. And they have no shortage of they have no shortage of unsuspecting ass simps willing to sign away their damn lives. Them hoes don't care about marriage. They're like, give me the damn baby. I know I got my hooks in them. And then they just work it. Second is Chicago. Man, look here. Chicago is gutter. Them chicks in Chicago is gully as hell. No, not Atlanta, not New Orleans, not DC. Chicago. Chicks in Chicago know how to break niggas. Dude, are you playing with your Tonka toys? Knock it off. I'm hosting a program over here.
No, I'm still here. Sorry about that.
I know you're here. You're making too much noise. Them chicks in Chicago, they are born and bred. It's like a damn training academy up there. Chicago trains them females up there to break niggas. Only they're not sophisticated like the New York chicks. They down and dirty with it. Chicago will do that. No, I did not name Los Angeles for a specific reason. Los Angeles is a place where females they take advantage of a guy. They'll take advantage of a guy, but it's not the same as like New York or Chicago. Chicago, the chicks on some gangster stuff. They don't mind even setting you up. In Los Angeles, I don't consider them to be the same way. The females in Los Angeles, believe it or not, they're not as calculating in the same way. These other chicks are calculating in that way. Los Angeles, to be totally honest, getting along with them wasn't a problem. And I'm from Louisiana. Getting along with them wasn't a problem. They're not calculating like they are in these other places. It's a damn war zone in New York and Chicago. It's a damn sexual war zone. The chicks in Los Angeles are trying to get as much as they can get, but that's any female anywhere. But then again, they also put in the work to get it. In Chicago, these chicks don't mind running your damn pockets and putting in no work. And the only place worse than Chicago is New York. Them broads don't mind running your damn pockets and putting in no damn work whatsoever. She a strong foe from the Dominican Republic trying to run your damn pockets. It's not like that in Los Angeles. And what I'm saying is, in your case, bruh, they see you coming from a mile away. They see you coming from a mile away. So it's good you're getting things together, but right now, the only thing you could do with a female is get ready to hand off everything you got to her. You don't have the discipline to prevent that from happening. You don't. You don't. So unless you're talking, the only way I would sign off on that is if you get a vasectomy. So to ensure that you do not get her pregnant. I'm gonna assume you ain't gonna walk down the altar again, but then again, I might be wrong. You might screw around and do that too. But at the very least,
yeah, I might, yeah, for the future, yeah.
Oh boy, okay. Maybe if you get a CPA, maybe when they put the numbers in front of you, a light bulb will go off and you'll realize, okay, maybe I need to think this over a little bit, because your judgment in women is not so great. You're divorced from one, you got a baby mama with the other. Your judgment hasn't worked out very well. You don't have a great track record of choosing. So why would I encourage you to get back out there when you haven't demonstrated that you have the judgment, the temperament, and the competence? Why would I do that? And ordinarily, I would just say, ordinarily, I would say just find you a cool little chick to kick it with. But based on your previous behavior, I'm worried that she's going to lay up with you long enough and you're going to do what you did again. Well, I can get this one pregnant. Well, you don't even want to marry her. Yeah, but baby, we ain't got to be married like that. Oh, okay. She said it. She said she can't get pregnant. All right. And you'll just get took all over again. So unless you take steps to make sure it doesn't happen, there's no way in the hell I'm trusting you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Jason, I really appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
Get your CPA. Get your vasectomy. I think things will work out for you. Until then, you got building to do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight.
All right.
He has not demonstrated that he has the leadership capability to prevent them from running his damn pockets. The dirty DR. Cold-blooded Cubans. Hostile Haitians. He's not ready, y'all. He's not ready. He's not ready. What I got here, is this an international caller? You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You faceless coward.
Is that you, Leopold?
I know you hear me. Yeah, fuck you.
Now
it is.
Okay, well, I hope we have to do a medical check on you here. Leopold needs a wellness check. So, Leopold is up at night. Ordinarily, I just drop anonymous numbers, but I figured that might be him. So, Leopold is up tonight. Are you still angry about that, Leopold? Are you still mad about that? Clearly you are. By the way, are you still mad about that? Leopold is still angry about that, y'all. All right. I sure hope, I sure hope we can do a wellness check. He's up late at night and whatnot, waxing his cheeks. He's up late tonight, shaving all his body hair off, doing his nails. He heard men sitting around in the group, and He got all excited. Can I sit with y'all? Can I sit with y'all? Can I sit with y'all? No, get the burgers, wimpy. But there's men's. It's raining men's. Not for you. That's all right. Look, fellas, we gotta discuss the rules right quick, man. We gotta talk about the rules right now. I can't let y'all go ahead and keep doing what you're doing. I can't do that. I can't do that. Y'all fellas are out here, you're hypnotized by sex. You know, you're getting money so you can get sex. And that's the crazy thing about it. The more money you should get, the less concerned about sex you should be. Quite honestly. The more acts. But there's a real problem. You guys are getting your money up, but you're not getting your social competence up. So you don't have the things that allow a female to bond to you. Because when you're socially awkward or socially inept, you're not giving her anything to bond to. So she sees you as a walking paycheck, but she doesn't see a personality. And a lot of you fellas, you all need to develop a damn personality. You complain about Pookie and Ray Ray. Yeah, but Pookie and Ray Ray got a personality. You're walking around like a damn wet blanket, man. That's not gonna make it. It's not gonna make it. Scary as hell, and it worries you, but you need to have that together. They're not competing for a fellow who is inept. They'll compete for your money, but they're not competing for you. You're supposed to be making it where a person wants to bond themselves to your name, but nobody wants to bond themselves to your name if you don't have a record of greatness, if you don't have accomplishments, if you don't have things that you've done. She's not going to want to bond herself to that. And I wasn't always, socially adept either, by the way. It's something you have to learn. When I was younger, I didn't like talking to people at all. It's something you have to learn. Well, if I learned it, I know you can. If you make it a priority to do so, if I learned it, you can do the same thing. But fellas are out here just being inept and just saying any old thing. They're laying up with any old thing. Bro, you ain't supposed to have a damn divorce and a baby mama. It's supposed to be like, okay. After the divorce, it's supposed to be like, all right, the shop is closed. The shop is closed. And we're going to competence here. Because let me tell you, it's a man having a bunch of kids by a bunch of females. Man, that's not competence. That is not competence. There isn't anything competent about getting a bunch of chicks pregnant, man. That doesn't display competence. You're supposed to have people competing for that. Females are supposed to be competing to lay up with you. They're supposed to be competing to have your children. That's not supposed to be no damn given. It's supposed to be like finding a unicorn with hen's teeth to have one of your kids. That's supposed to be a rare thing. That's supposed to be where she's sitting there and she's got bumps and bruises and knocks and everything else, and she had to beat out all the damn competition. It's supposed to be like a battle royal. That's what that's supposed to be about. Having your children, having your offspring is supposed to be a battle royale. But the reason that it's not is because, let's just keep it real, most of you fellas out here, man, y'all ain't gotten an offer. And I'm talking about intellectually. Intellectually, you're not the smartest guy in anything. You don't retain information. You don't retain it. You don't process it. You can't improvise, so you lack intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to retain, process, and improvise information. Most of you are unable to do that, and then you can't figure out why the females don't follow you very well. These are core elements that are missing. Yeah, your money is straight, but that's all. A woman can't respect your income. I never told you that. Go back and go check my program I did years ago here on The Business about what is an alpha male. And remember, there were the 3 dimensions: the physical, the intellectual, the social. The physical, the intellectual, the social, and the financial. Not the financial and everything else is an accessory. If you want to be a complete alpha, you really need to have the 4 dimensions. It's rare to find somebody who has the 4 dimensions, but at least 3 of those 4 dimensions. In the chat room, yes, Haitians are hostile. They damn sure are. They sure as hell are. Let me tell you something right now. Them Haitian chicks in New York, Florida, up and down New Jersey, up and down the East Coast, man, look here. They can be beautiful, but they know full damn well they raw as hell. They raw as hell. They ruthless, period. They'll leave you on the side of the road somewhere. That's just the get down. It is. Don't have these fellas out here naive about that. There is no such thing as a sweet and innocent Haitian chick. Ain't no such thing. None. There's just the big gangsters and the baby gangsters. Don't tell these people anything different. Haitian chicks only come in 2 flavors: big gangsters and little gangsters. That's it. Doesn't matter whether they're cute or not. You go walk your happy ass over there thinking you find some Southern hospitality. Okay. They won't even argue with it. They'll be looking at you crazy talking about they're not hot. Man, they'll look at you crazy saying that. They're not going to look at me crazy. They're going to look at you crazy if you say it. No, you're right. You got to push up on them. If you're going to push up on them, you got to come the right way about that. But they'll break your ass in a minute. They will break your ass in a minute and don't think nothing of it. They will break you in a heartbeat and don't think anything of it. Go talk to somebody who doesn't know anything about that. Talk to someone who does not know. I've met enough of them to know. Talk to somebody who doesn't know. In the chat room, Jamaican females, the only problem with the Jamaican females is they don't have standards, man. That's the problem with them. They don't have standards. Somebody needs to go down there and form a union or something. But Jamaican chicks don't have standards, man. Some of them are beautiful. You know, they get over here and they chasing zaddies. When they're over there, they having 4 and 5 kids by every Rasta bum there is. Jamaican chicks need to develop standards, man. Jamaican chicks need to find some standards. They need to get a magnifying glass and a detective and find some standards. I ain't hating. They know I'm telling the truth. If Jamaican chicks that have some standards, man, they'd be some bad bros, but I gotta call it for what it is. They don't have standards. So they either are sitting over here chasing zaddy or they're sitting over there with bums. If they ever actually get some standards, they'll be in good shape. They'll be in good shape. Don't worry, I'm in danger of offending them, but okay. I wanted to talk tonight, though, about definitely about the rules, man. I want to discuss the rules about that. Dudes are calling me up. They got 2 kids, about 2 and 4 different chicks, man. Well, where's the game plan here, man? And yeah, I mean, I gotta lay the blame forward at the feet of these old niggas. I gotta lay it at the feet of these old niggas. These old niggas, you know, they're not training up these young cats. Nobody's mentoring them. YouTube is promoting the most clueless bummy idiots out there and whatnot and saying, ooh, you can listen to him. We don't have old cats running the block like that no more who can sit up here and coach these young fellas and put them up on it before they get themselves in trouble, man. We don't have that. That's what's missing. These old cats ain't sitting up here, they're not sitting up here doing it right, man. In the chat room, stop asking stupid questions like, are we live? You see, the YouTube thing is saying that we're live. Time out anybody who says or asks a stupid ass question, are we live? Some of y'all been sitting up tonight and you're smoking your damn weed and you're sitting up here. Some of y'all are doing meth and whatever else. You're hung over on that lean and you're asking dumb questions. Are we live? The big red button that says live. Ooh, are we live right here? You know whose mama was doing drugs when they were gestating? Ooh, I don't know. It say live, but is we live? I don't know. Pass me that E&J. Damn, it say live, but I don't know if it really live. I mean, is it live? Or is it just live, later live? I don't know if it's for real live or is YouTube might be lying. They might be lying. Might not really be live. I be hearing voices sometimes I be hearing. Hell's wrong with these niggas? By the way, if there are any chicks from the New York area, if any of you chicks from the New York area who think I have slandered your name, maybe I need to do a program about this because lately I've been upsetting my bariquas. Oh, sorry, I better not say that. I'll be catching hell for that one here in just a moment, I imagine. Maybe I'll do a program for the chicks in that New York area, the Caribbean chicks. Maybe I'll start doing a thing for the Caribbean chicks in the New York area to get them to kind of polish their reputation and clean that up some. Maybe I'll give them a chance to, Jason, you don't let her talk. Okay, maybe I'll do a program where I can let y'all call in and speak. Let the Jamaican chicks call up and explain some of this foolery going on out here. I heard you say us we dirty Dominican chicks. We not dirty. Okay. Oh, explain all them niggas on child support over there. That was their fault. All right. Let me get caller from area code 708. You're on live with The Business. We're after hours. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, 708. Hung up. That better not be Leopold, by the way. Caller from area code 920. You're on live with The Business after hours. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Dante.
Okay, get off speakerphone. Dude, you call me up with what the hell's wrong with you? Get off a speakerphone, man. Y'all want to sit there in bed with your damn footies on with your nightgown, rubbing yourselves down.
I didn't have you on speakerphone. I had headphones on.
What is your name? Where you're calling from?
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Nigga, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Dante from Wisconsin.
Where at in Wisconsin?
Green Bay.
Dante from Green Bay. What's on your mind?
I had the question. So you were talking about alpha or whatnot. So I was wondering, why is it that everybody's so adamant about being alpha and being beta is looked upon so negatively?
Do you know what an alpha is?
I'm kind of confused about about the actual definition of it because so many things that's portrayed about it.
Okay. Tell me, to your perception, what do you think is the admirable part of being a beta?
I guess I don't really have a clear understanding on the difference between the two. I just always felt like not felt like, but my understanding of being an alpha was someone who had, I guess their personality is more assertive, and someone who's beta is just someone who doesn't necessarily want to be confronted by certain things, or maybe I have the wrong understanding of that.
Well, if you want to reduce it down to one is dominant, the other is submissive, that's fine. But I would give you a better definition of it. The white red pill community tried to define these things. They failed miserably at it because they didn't just go back to the roots of these things. I had to correct them, and now they're all updating their lexicons, but they're not doing it quickly enough to correct the damage that they did in all of this mischaracterization all this time. An alpha is defined by one thing: power. Now, you might be the financial alpha. You might be the social. You might be the intellectual. There are several different ways in which you can assert dominance. But let's be very, very clear. When we use the phrase dominance, we're saying power. And that is a critical, aspect of survival. The more dominant you are, the more likely to survive you are. The less dominant you are, the less likely to survive you are. And that brings you to the betas. They don't exert power. They are individuals that power is exerted over them. They get taken advantage of by females and brutalized by other males. Their chances of survival are not so great. So it really depends on which side it depends on which side you wish to be on. That's all.
I got you. Well, allowing things to happen to you and kind of playing the victim to whatever circumstances occur to you, right?
Well, correct, but don't take it as an absolute, because then you'll get confused, because there are individuals.
Oh yeah, no.
Slow down.
Yeah. No, I get.
Slow down. There are individuals who are professional alphas. I had to educate Rollo and the friends on that because they were screwing that up. A guy who is an alpha at his job, he's an alpha at his profession. One of the things that one of the instances and examples people like to most use is doctors. Yeah, there are a number of physicians, when he works in the surgery department or if he works in oncology, among the nurses there in that specific environment, he's commanding, he's in control, he's a steady, firm hand, he knows what he's doing. So he's able to establish dominance, including social dominance. He's the person that all of them look up to. Then he goes home to his wife. Well, that's not his job anymore. He's no longer in his professional setting. He has to deal with her they have to deal with each other as equals. You see, a doctor and his nurses are not equals. A doctor and his patient are not equals. A doctor and the orderlies are not equals. A man and a woman, socially, you're on par with each other. So now he doesn't have that leverage of being in a dominant position in his job to depend on. So now we determine, are you truly socially dominant? And when he gets home with his wife, she's if he's henpecked, at his job, he's an alpha within the confines of his career, but outside of it, he is not. So just understand, even in that, when we define being an alpha or a beta, for example, you have a lot of betas who are financially very adept. Accounting is a very good place to find betas who are financially affluent, but they are easily dominated.
Because of the other aspects of their life. So would you boil that down to influence, being able to? Because I heard a definition of someone breaking an alpha down to them influence or impacting everyone around them.
I mean, but all we're really doing now is dissecting power. Power is power is however you wish to use it. We don't have to overly complicate it. Power is however you want to use it. You might want to dominate everyone around you. Then again, you might just want to sit there and observe. But the difference is you can do whatever you wish to do. You might want to move.
Okay, just
You might
having
want to
the
move
ability.
everybody. Then again, you might not want to. Being an alpha is really defined by, do you have the option?
I got you. That makes a lot of sense, man. I just found it a lot. It's thrown around a lot, and nowadays people use words and don't use it to the context of what it actually means. They kind of give it their own definitions of what they feel like it means, or what they feel like that. Just give it a definition, point blank, period. But that's all I had, man. I appreciate you letting me up.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 346. You're on live with the Business After Hours. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Stu from Houston, Texas.
Stu from Houston. What's on your mind?
So I have been listening to your broadcast for some time. I'm taking an amalgamation of all your broadcasts. I'm trying to discern where I fall in the grand scheme of things. So I am a veteran, and I do take into account how you see specific veterans and whatnot. However, I listened to your broadcast earlier, and I did feel mortally offended about how a female could drop a man so fast in his lowest point. And basically, I had a wife at the time. I was in the military. I ended up getting chaptered, but I did it in a way to where I kept all my benefits. However, keeping it too real with her, I assume, led to, I guess you said your science of hypergamy. I guess that set in type situation, and I take that of the 80-10 or 80-20 rule. Only keep it 80%, like honesty with your significant other.
Okay, let me find out here, brother. Did you have a
honesty.
question you wanted to ask or something? Because I don't want us to go on too long, so I'm kind of getting lost. Did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Well, not necessarily. This is my first time catching the after hours. I was just trying to see, like, I ain't gonna call myself a simp, or I ain't gonna call myself. I'm not a producer by all definition. However, I did have specific things. So when I was early on in my career, I opened up a hookah club in Tennessee when I was in the Army,
beta.
and she didn't support me. But I had the finances to do it, and she understood what I was doing, even the decisions we made to make specific moves.
Okay.
However, in the end, I felt
let's be clear on a couple of things here, okay? Because a lot of y'all new niggas, you all got everything screwed up. And you all just think that everything you do is okay. You have no standards. You have no discipline. You have obvious flaws. And then when the flaws smash you in the face, you then want to cry foul. Well, I wasn't taught. I wasn't told. Okay, but the bottom line is you're responsible whether you were taught or told or not. How old are you, son?
33.
Okay. Will you please tell me what part of... You said you opened a hookah club, so would that so that means obviously you smoke?
No. So I was in Afghanistan right before, and I understood the craze of other people smoking. At the time, I didn't, and so I understood the demographic and the lack thereof.
Okay.
But
why would you start a business for marijuana smokers if you yourself do not understand what they want? Because if you don't smoke, how can you understand what they want?
And that's me coming from my background. I was always tapped into certain things, but I never specifically partaked in such activities.
Okay. Even if what you're saying is accurate, and I'm not convinced it is, but even if what you were saying were 100% accurate, this would be absolutely no different than a chick who claims to be a good Catholic schoolgirl sitting around here hanging out with a group of chicks at the club with their underwear hanging out, shaking their butts. Now,
However, I have provided for a female and upgraded.
Let's not talk over the host. We're not going to do that.
Touché,
Now, just like you would say, okay, well, maybe she doesn't shake her butt with the rest of them, but she opens a business for females to come and shake their asses while she's trying to convince you that she's not like them. Okay, but look at the company you're keeping, and of all the things you could have invested and indulged in, look what that is. So what I'm saying is you're telling a female not to consider you to be one of those kinds of people, and yet of all the endeavors you could have chosen, you chose this one, while you're going to tell her not to consider you to be that kind of person. So what I'm saying is you're a guy who has a tendency of supporting dope head culture, and you don't want a female to treat you like a dope head.
Well, so my next rebuttal to that is, I hear of birds of a feather flock together, but then I'll argue against that what is the essence of being a real man? Being a man in amongst of being in situations like I heard you say, you were in a situation that when the guy jumped out the car and he did what he did, how do you control that when you're a man of character? And you didn't control your, you know what I'm saying? You didn't control your environment. It just happened upon you.
Okay. You're going to be judged by the company you keep. And if your mind of all the things you encountered overseas, you gravitated to marijuana culture, don't be surprised when your female equates you to marijuana culture and treats you like one of them. If you think a female who sees marijuana culture is for males who are typically irresponsible and they're trying to separate themselves from the adult world, don't be surprised when a female doesn't trust you with her future. Don't be surprised when she's got 1 foot in and 1 foot out and doesn't really trust you with it. Because you're sending clear signals that you desire to exit leadership. You desire to exit responsibility. And you're going to try to intellectually argue that's not the case. Dude, you got a whole damn hookah shop. Are you even aware of what you're doing?
No. I do agree, but then this is why I rebutted and why I meant to call it earlier is when you at your lowest point.
There's not
and then you are looking and you are without like certain lineages. And I understand at the end of the day it's my responsibility, especially if I want to fill these types of shoes. But then for somebody who, like you said,
sir, you're completely out of touch. You are completely out of touch and completely self-unaware of what you're doing. You have a damn, I'm going to say this again, you have a damn hookah shop that is indicative of an individual who wishes to avoid responsibility, maturity, and accountability. And then you expect a female to anchor herself to you.
So the idea of a business alone doesn't do that? Maybe I was a little short-sighted. However, I have grown to the point that I am in real estate, that have bought properties. It started where it started. However, I am where I am right now.
You don't think that matters, sir?
No. Now, as you explain it, absolutely. But from a perspective of we're both young, how does she know? I guess at that point, my better question is, what sets her self-awareness above mine? Meaning that there may be a means to an end, and I may be short-sighted with the culture, but who's to say that I'm not a producer when we got married and I decided to at least, because like I said, I was motivated to provide for her. That was the whole purpose of it. Was I a little short-sighted in the secondary annotations of it? Maybe. But however, the thing was set upon me.
A man has to be cognizant of his image. Mm-hmm. It is a sign of immaturity to expect that other people are going to treat you with more respect than you have presented yourself as having. Now, that's a sign of immaturity. They should give you the level of respect that you have presented. Now, they shouldn't give you less, but you have no right to demand that they give you more. And if you approach them with the uniform of a slacker and the culture of a slacker and everything else, you can't get mad when they assume, oh, this guy's a slacker. And at the first sign of danger, you're getting upset because of the first sign of danger. She's like, yeah, let me bail because I don't have faith that he's going to be able to handle this. Because you're trying to confine this all to, oh, well, yeah, it was a paraphernalia type of shop business, but it was still a business. You're trying to separate the two. You're trying to parse hairs. And what I'm telling you is that how you do one thing is how you do all things. You didn't choose this particular venture from nowhere. You bypassed a bunch of others. And that's something for a person to keep in mind. They have to. Especially if they're going to be anchored to you, their survival will depend on it. So if you open a shop for this, there are also other behaviors you have been indulging in as well. This isn't an isolated thing. There are others. You aren't talking about them, but there are others you've done, and it was enough to make her very unsure and very uncertain about anchoring herself to you. And at the first sign of danger, she shows she does not have faith that you can handle it. Because of all these things she's seen. She doesn't really think you're equipped to be able to do it. And there is a valid argument to support that. You were asking her to gamble. She didn't want to gamble.
And I agree. And I would agree. However, my rebuttal is, what if my intentions and everything was like initially on point. However, like you said, the motivation set me off in between. I'm not asking am I righteous? I guess I guess the point is, I guess closure, whatever. But where does the blame fall at that point? Is if I was able to get her, but then
there is a reason why the law does the way it does about intent. Nobody can quantify your intent.
Mm-hmm.
You keep trying to come up with these rebuttals that don't mean anything. Nobody else can quantify your intentions. They have no way of proving it. They have no way of measuring it. They have no way of validating it. All of that exists in between your ears. What they have to deal with is the real world results. And you keep trying to figure out a way to get them to not focus on the results, but to just keep their eyes on you. As if you are what validate, quote unquote, your intentions. And what we're saying here is you're not listening. Nobody's asking whether the shop is a failure or a success. What they're asking is what type of personality of a person goes off into this type of venture. And are you willing to put your future in this person's hands when the uncertainties and calamities of life happen, and they will happen? Do you want to put your future in this person's hands?
A part of me wants to argue yes, and then a part of me understands what you're saying. Because a part of me that argues yes, that you want somebody that tries to abstain to try and come above the standard quote of what we see around us by any means necessary. And that's kind of how I see it. Now, I do understand what you are saying, but at that time, that's how I did see it.
So like I say, you're going to have to be cognizant of what you do as a man. You're going to have to be cognizant of where you go, who you hang out with. A bunch of y'all have been raised to be very immature and to act like children, and then you become completely out of touch and unaware of when the people around you, when the temperature in the room has changed, when the mood in the room has changed. You all are completely oblivious to it. I guarantee for you and the fellow from the military who called in before, the guy who said he was bedridden and stuff like that, I guarantee the females you all were dealing with also gave you signs that, yeah, she ain't really solid like that. But once again, how you do one thing is how you do all things. If you're willing to overlook the obvious ramifications of starting a hookah shop and how people are going to perceive you, then you're also going to be oblivious to the fact that this chick ain't really solid like that, and you're counting on her to be.
And that's where the case was. Where I was looking to be solid when I opened the club and understand I'm doing this for us. It wasn't that at all.
She obviously did not have the same amount of faith as you, and clearly she had a lot of questions. But she certainly was not invested in it.
And that's why I think I dropped the ball making her invest into the situation before I married her, honestly.
Oh, then you married her. Well.
Oh, yeah, we were married by this time. I had married her, had been married at least for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But I was smart enough not to get her pregnant. Like, I did listen to myself in that aspect.
How long did you know her before you married her?
I knew her family way longer than I knew her.
How long did you know her before you married her?
About 6 months.
There you go. By the way, to that lying, two-faced jackass, Kitten Heel Samuels, this is why I said, yeah, morons and liars on the internet. I never said you should be married in 6 months. And for that clown to sit up here and say you should be, yeah, this phone call is the reason why. No. You should know within you should know within 6 months whether or not she is wife material. But it's going to take you a couple of years to figure out if you can live with the downsides of this person's psychology. If you just jump off into marriage, then you've done it before you've determined that you can live with these negative character traits that every person carries. You haven't given yourself enough time to determine if you can live with those things for an extended period of time.
I want to say a caveat. As I did meet Kevin Samuels before I met your page, something always was offsetting about me, and I do remember the very episode about Thomas Sowell, which I didn't know who he was, and then I listened to your broadcast about Thomas Sowell, which always said something about him always stopped short of calling out white supremacy for their actions. But this neither here nor there. I'm not a stark follower of him. Me and how I did my thing is more in line with your message.
I was making a point, though. I was making a different point. This wasn't about you.
My fault.
I was making a point that, by the way, that 6 months is not long enough to determine if you can live, if you're willing to tolerate the negative aspects of a person for a long period of time. 6 months is not long enough to come to that conclusion. 6 months is just long enough to fall in love with somebody and roll the dice. 6 months is not long enough to figure out whether or not some of the quirks you saw are actually dyed in the wool or whether those were just one-time occurrences. 6 months is not long enough to determine that. Yeah. And it's also not long enough to determine whether or not you're going to be able to tolerate it. You're talking about marrying somebody for the rest of your life. 6 months will not give you enough time, even if you do experience their bad quirks. 6 months doesn't give you enough time to determine, okay, can I live with this for a year, 2 years, 2 decades? Can I really make it with this that long? 6 months is not long enough to make that determination. It isn't.
Yeah, and ultimately I wasn't, because ultimately I sent her on the way because I felt as if she was ungrateful and all the things, like say from that female who, when he finally got down, I wasn't even in the same position as him, to where I was down for 2 or 3, 4 years. I was only down for the transition from Germany back to the States, and she didn't stay loyal in between that. So
was she in the military?
It's a bunch of stuff. No.
What's the age difference between you?
Through 2 or 3 years, not that much.
Is she black?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But her mind, and that was another issue, but her mindset wasn't as pro-black. Even as the onset, I'm not as strong pro-black as I am now, but back then it wasn't even as strong black as I wanted it to be, to the point where we was even bumping heads to that point, to where like you said, like there were certain things that made me not push forward. Yeah, I married her.
We're running a little long on time here, but what I will say is there were obvious warning signs, and fellas need to be clear about having an agenda with a female. But more than anything else, we cannot ignore warning signs and then get ourselves entangled. We can't do that. If you just want to lay up with a broad, go ahead and do that. By the way, does she have any children?
No.
Okay. If you just want to lay up with a broad, she does now. Well, if you just want to lay up with it by you or somebody else?
Somebody else.
Okay, because you said you didn't have any kids with her, but I wanted to make sure.
So I sent her on her way. So we were married.
Okay. All right. I didn't ask for any details. In any case, the bottom line is when you see warning signs, don't overlook them. And you should be very careful and deliberate about what you do. But the bottom line is, fellas, if you just want to find a chick to lay up with, okay, let it be that. But don't sit up here and overlook warning signs. They will not go away. They will only get worse. And you need to determine whether or not you can live with those or not, but you can't disregard them. So you also have to be clear about what your deal breakers are and what it is based on what you need, not just based on some whim or something like that. So if you got a chick who's sitting up here kissing Zaddy's ass, you got to make a decision whether you want to be married to that for the rest of your damn life. If you got a chick who's got little slutty ways about her, you need to make a decision whether or not you want to be married to that or shackled to that or baby mama to that for the rest of your life. So you need to be careful about those things. It's better to have a long-term relationship that ends and you can just pack up and walk away than to have a marriage or somebody who's carrying your genetic legacy and can be screwing that up all this time. So fellas, you have to have standards. You have to have notions. You have to have that in concrete, and you have to be firm about what it is before you allow people to sit up here and make long-term attachments to you in that regard. Because, like I say, these things, if y'all are really honest about it, these things didn't sneak up on you. They really didn't. There were all types of warning signs that fellas ignore, and they usually wind up ignoring them for the same reason, by the way. They usually wind up ignoring them for the same cause. That's the real problem. It's usually something with a nice ass, or at least it's the nicest you've had. And that's usually what winds up getting them to ignore it. And that never turns out well.
I can agree there.
It never turns out well.
That's the truth.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 260. You're on live with The Business. We're after hours. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey Jones, calling from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Jeffrey Jones from Fort Wayne, Indiana. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I had a question. This might be off topic a little bit, but it's about alpha, being alpha. Why do you think, like Joe Rogan or like somebody like Richard Spencer, it seems that our IQ, black people IQ, is lower than other races, and how does that relate to being alpha?
Okay, well. I can't. Those are two separate things in that regard, because an alpha is defined by power. I can show you a bunch of guys who may be the most powerful person in the room, but they are not. They don't have the highest IQ. As far as this idea about black people having quote unquote lower IQs, you're now getting into the bell curve and stuff like that. IQ tests are very subjective. That IQ tests have always made it very clear that they are subjective. They are not objective. They're not objective, they're subjective, because all an IQ test really indicates is that this person knew most of the information that they were asked on this particular test. I can craft an IQ test to be able to, for the person I want to pass it, I can craft an IQ test that does that. And we've always known that, so that's not new. However, even to the extent that you attempt to try to say that there's some objective IQ among races. The argument that the alt-right and the Jared Taylors make. And, you know, of course, I've talked to all these people with the exception of Joe Rogan. I've talked to all these people. And when I spoke to them, they started backing down from it. So I'm a bit of an anomaly in that regard, because when I spoke to them, they backed down from it because there are inherent fundamental flaws in what they're saying. So these people are very historical revisionists. They're very, very much about that, which you have to be. You have to be a historical revisionist and a social revisionist to make this nonsense work. And I'll tell you all why. Historically speaking here, what they'll tell you is that Asians have the highest IQ, white folk are slightly below them, Latinos are way below whites, and blacks are at the very bottom. So the real point isn't when they make the argument about Asians being higher than white people, because they're going to say Asians are only a couple of points above white people. Their real point is that there's supposed to be this 10-point gap between whites and black people. Now, that's the real point they're trying to make, is that, oh, by the way, take a look how far down black people are compared to white people. So you're making the eugenics argument again. You're making the eugenics argument again, is all they're really doing. So with that being the case, then you have to find out, okay, what are you trying to say here? Well, you're trying to say that people of direct African descent are just genetically inferior. All right. Well, that sounds good on its face until you start recognizing that, by the way, it doesn't get more direct African than Nigerians, for example. And in American universities, Nigerians routinely kick the asses of everybody, including Asians. Now, before the Nigerians start talking about that's right, you Akatas, we do. There's a caveat to that too. So to the Nigerians over there, don't start breaking out, you know, the party favors just yet. Don't start doing that. But what we have fundamental proof that all the universities will let you know their Nigerian students routinely outperform everybody else. It doesn't get any more African than that. When you bring this up to the Richard Spencers and Jared Taylors, they attempt to dismiss that altogether. And it's just, oh, well, that's just Nigerians. Sir, there's 80 million people. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Okay, it's not 80 million yet, but you get the idea. What the hell are you talking about? So that's the thing for you to keep in mind there, is that's when you start bringing out those facts to it there, it becomes very, very subjective, but that's not the point they're trying to make. This isn't based on proof. That's not what it's based on. It is based on what do you wish to believe.
They're trying to say that we have a specific deviant behavior when it comes to social environments or like social science or like the economical. Do you think that we have like Black Americans?
Okay, let me explain a few things here. First of all, don't talk over the host. You're here to learn. I will address all your questions because this is the same playbook. These are the same litany of questions they're always asked. So sit back, relax. I'll cover everything.
All right.
If you talk to these white supremacists, what they will then tell you and they will acknowledge is that the next argument, once you show them that there isn't a academic IQ gap, it is engineered, because what do Africans from the African continent have that African descendants of slaves in America do not have? Oh, they don't have a school system that is engineered against the children. They don't have that. They're allowed to be educated in Africa without direct white supremacist manipulation in the classroom, putting the boys in special ed, sabotaging the girls. They don't have that over there. You don't have white teachers in the classroom sabotaging the children. You have that in America. So no wonder you see this huge shift when you get over here. You don't see it in Britain. You don't see it in Africa. You only see it over here, where the white supremacists are allowed to directly meddle. That's the only place you see it. When you go back to post-antebellum slavery, however, and you take a look at how black people were operating, and you see the expansion of black wealth in America, that showed you what we were able to do even in the grips of Jim Crow segregation and oppression, when we were left on our own, we had thriving communities of our own that rivaled anything the white folk were doing. You have to artificially hold black people down. You have to do it artificially. Now, as far as cognitive intelligence and engineering and whatnot, we can show you plenty of pyramids all over the entire continent of Africa. Although if you let Richard Spencer and Jared Taylor tell it, those were built by white folk, including the ones where there are only black people in those areas, including those. They try to claim those too. So what I'm saying is that's historical revisionism. Once you've knocked those down, they then retreat and tell you, well, there are different types of IQ. Now, then they're going to say that one. There's not just one IQ. Well, there's different types of IQ. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, when you start pointing out the areas where black people succeed, when you start talking about sports, and remember, it takes intelligence to do sports, for example. Mike Tyson has one of the highest boxing IQs of any person who's ever lived. Mike Tyson understands the fundamentals of boxing at a level that most people do not. Most fighters don't. When you see him training Mike Tyson can train other fighters today. He understands boxing at a level that most people do not understand it. So, and these are words that came straight out of the mouth of Jared Taylor, that black people, when I brought these things up to him, he said, well, black people have a higher musical IQ and a higher sports IQ than white people. Now, most of you have never even heard that before. A musical IQ, sports IQ. I thought IQ was IQ. I thought we were talking about gauging your general intelligence. But you see, we have to keep changing the rules because I'm white. And I say so. So when it serves them, IQ is judged as general intelligence. When it doesn't serve them, then they parse IQ and dissect it into separate columns. Okay, well, you all might have a higher musical IQ, but we have a higher academic IQ. You mean in those classrooms where you hobble our children and rig the tests and everything else? You mean in those places there? Oh, well, tisk, details. So understand, the very premise of that question you were asking is fraught with manipulation. And until you understand the manipulation, then you don't understand why the question is flawed to begin with.
Okay.
So does that
how can we
does that answer that, as well as the quote deviant behaviors argument and all that? Does that kind of explain that for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a great outlook.
Okay, so Jason wasn't just making that up, by the way. He actually knows what he's talking about. Yeah. All right, what do you want to ask next?
90 seconds.
Like, okay, so in that we know the education system is flawed. Basically, like, what social construct can we replace with that? Like, should we go into like teachable type courses for like experts and find mentors for like specific fields that, you know, people want to get into, like, instead of going into college and going into debt? And
well, I mean, if you want to deal with those things, what you need to do is have parents who give a damn. That's the first thing. Thoughtology, single motherism, that's how you destroy children. So first and foremost, you need to have parents who give a damn. And from there, everything else happens. You can put your children in public schools. If you have parents who give a damn and are engaged, your children are still going to thrive there. But it takes parental engagement. You can't turn your kids over to a white school system, or any school system for that matter, and be like, okay, they got it from here. The school system is supposed to be a supplement to what the parents are doing. It's not supposed to be a structure all of its own.
Ten seconds.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I really was. I had wrote that down, so I was just waiting to ask you that.
When you take a look at other communities, the real thing is it doesn't matter whether it's Jewish mosques, Jewish synagogues, Muslim mosques, It doesn't matter what it is. The real issue is they take it seriously. And in the areas in black society where they take it seriously, Nation of Islam, and there are several other schools, for example, in the places where it's taken seriously, yeah, it happens. Things get done and you don't see those problems. In any environment where it's taken seriously, including right here on The Business, if you have a competent teacher and the subject matter is taken seriously, then well-suited education is going to ensue.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, definitely, you can't let the people who hate you define those things for you. So if you all really want the really brief explanation of why those things are faulty and flawed, you just found out. By the way, it goes way deeper than that too. There are so many levels you can knock these things down on. But just understand, they have already they've already been knocked down before. What they're checking to see is how much you know. They really just want these lies to get as much traction as they can and get as much distance as they can before somebody who knows better can knock them down, because they just want it. They know that the takeaway will be, well, black people just have lower IQs, not the part that rebuts it. That's the part that they're really hoping is that, okay, hopefully there won't be a rebuttal that knocks this down before we get out there. So when you have people like Joe Rogan who can put a signal boost, that kind of thing at a high level, it makes it a lot harder to knock it down, because a lot of other people have heard the falsehood and then didn't hear the evidence that shows that, well, you're just making this up because you're trying to make a white supremacist justification for practicing discrimination and brutality, when in reality, this has never been true. This has never been true. It's not true. It isn't true now, but you have to sit up here and say something like that. You have to. So whether we're talking about eugenics, whether we're talking about phrenology, look it up. Whether we're talking about the quack so-called pseudoscience of measuring people's craniums to determine their intelligence, they keep bringing it back in some form. They just keep bringing it back in some form. Phrenology was debunked. They bring it back. Okay, let's talk about IQs. That's just another form of phrenology. Just understand that. Call of America code 909. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex from Riverside, California. How you doing, bud?
Alex from Riverside. What's on your mind?
I heard you tell people like not jump career to career, stick to one thing. I just got my TWIC. I just got my tanker. I'm gonna get my hazmat and the rest. And then last month, I was driving for my parents for about a year, and they said, "Here, take over the truck. Everything's yours, but also all the expenses is yours. We're gonna sign it over to you, the whole 9 yards." So I started looking at the invoices, and I seen that the broker is killing it off of all the guys driving. So I'm like, I listen to you, and you're like, double your income, try to come up as much as you can. So I'm thinking, okay, should I just, get all my endorsements and focus on truck driving? Because this broker's making a killing off of all of this. And then, so is being a broker like a progression after being a truck driver, or should I just stick to being the truck driver? And getting my money up and getting more.
Let me go ahead and explain something to you all here. I see my function as getting you to the next level. Getting you out of that level where you're trapped, you're bogged down, you're in the quicksand, and the most you can do is make $40,000 a year. I see my function as showing you the pathway to escape that and to get to a higher level where you can start making bigger moves and you can choose where you go in this life. Now, there's a misconception, which I do understand, because the hazard of giving people specific information and specific directions is they will come away with the idea that, okay, if I start down this road, then there is only one conclusion. So I've been taking you all in baby steps, But I've said this in recent weeks here, because as more of you are starting to progress and you all are like, hey, Jason, I followed your advice. It worked out gangbusters. My FICO is up. My credit is up. My savings are up. I've doubled and tripled my income. Things are booming. What do I do next? And now I got to say something that you're all not ready for, which is I'm getting ready to let you go. Let me go where? Anywhere you would like to. No. That's too uncertain. My job was to get you into a position where you could take risk and finally absorb it without it devastating your life. Because you see, when you're only making $40,000 a year, taking a risk will devastate your life. When you're making $140,000 a year, you got more cushion to take risks without it devastating your life. So now you can try new things, and now you can venture into new areas, and you don't have to be terrified of what's going to happen, because now you know how to manage your risk. So I'm not teaching you how to avoid it. I want you all to get your weight up and become more acclimated and more capable at steering the ship so that you can take new risks, but you have the confidence that you can handle whatever happens. Now, when it comes to truck driving, I have tried to steer you all in a direction that is easiest to get your income doubled or tripled, which technically is number one, get your CDL. Number two, get all your endorsements. Number three, get as much experience as you can. Number four, consider progressing into owner-operator. So what I've done is I've taken you from just getting your CDL all the way through to having some ownership. So I've moved you from being an employee to, I won't necessarily say being an employer, but leaving the realm of being a direct employee. Are there other avenues in trucking? Absolutely. There's brokerage, there's transport, there's sales. I mean, there's a number of different things. There really, really are. It's going to be up to you what you do. So is brokering, I was watching some videos on YouTube last year about that. There's some black folk who are doing that as well. If you want to get into brokering and you can, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Now, are there risks involved? Yes, there are. But then again, there's risks involved in anything. Now, brokerage is just something I haven't mentioned before. I kind of consider that to be one of the higher sciences because it takes more money and you really need vehicles for it, to be totally honest, to make it work. At least to get started, or you're gonna have to have folk you can count on for it. So it's not something I would something I would tell somebody with a CDL. When you get done with this, you really need to think about brokerage. That's something that you consider once you get experience. So once you've gotten into the game and you're starting to see everything that's out there, now you've got the ability to make that decision. But just be aware of something. I will not be able to hold your hand for this part. Owner, operator, broker, distribution. I can't hold your hand for this part. My job is to get you to a point where you can fly on your own and you have the confidence in yourself that if something does happen, you can handle it. If you do get knocked on your ass, you'll be able to get back up again. So just be aware. I don't have any problem with broker at all. Make sure you have gotten all the information and covered your bases as much as you can. I'm not a big fan of partners, which is typically what happens with brokers, by the way. Typically, you find yourself with partners. Jason Black ain't a fan of partners. Maybe you all will do better at it. But be that as it may, yes, it can work for you. I would recommend that you do as much investigation, research, and mastery of it as you can. But certainly it can work for you. Absolutely.
Okay. So basically, get the first down first before I even think about the touchdown.
Well, I mean, certainly I would never consider going into a business I didn't understand from top to bottom, because the problem is, like, if you're a truck driver and you become an owner-operator, you get a few years of experience. Okay, what happens when you're driving a rig? You can have a tire blow out. Do you know how to change your tire? You could have engine problems. Do you have a roadside service, a reliable road mechanic to see about your stuff? And depending on if you're going coast to coast, do you have it set up? I'm being rhetorical. I'm just saying, do you have, those are the kind of things that can happen. Are you ready if you lose a headlight? Do you have all your credentials together? Do you have the word is escaping me off the top of my head, the thing that lets them know when you're going through the truck weigh stations if you can pass it or not. Just making sure you have all your equipment prepared for that. So the real thing is, once you've figured out how to run your truck by yourself working for somebody else, now you consider running it by yourself working for yourself. But first, being the best employee, mastering being an employee is the first step to removing the employer. Because as an employee, all you're doing is running his business for him. That's all you're doing. A good employee knows how to run his employer's business for him. Next thing you do is you ask yourself, you know what? Do I really need to keep running his business, or can I take care of that myself?
Yeah. I've been kind of thrown into the fire this past month. For example, I just got $6,000 deposited yesterday, but already the fuel bill is due. I had to pay the insurance. Well, I got to go get all the oil for the oil change. I got to do that myself tonight. It's just, wow. It's like, oh, shoot.
Well, definitely you don't want to be cash poor, okay? If you're thinking about doing a venture of your own, being cash poor is the worst thing. So that's why I tell you all, you need to have $50,000 or $100,000 in the bank. Being cash poor and bootstrapping, that's going to end in failure. So if you don't have enough of a financial cushion, you need to take care of that first.
Yeah, the guy at the gym was like, "Oh, you made $6,000." I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I'm gonna walk away with like $200, man." So, but I get it. I understand what you're saying. Let me conquer one thing first, and then think about the other ones. But yeah, those endorsements. I just got those two, and the other ones are on deck for sure.
Well, the thing is, like I say, just understand, if you're going to be the employer, if you're going to be self-employed, if you're in charge of the rig, you don't get to call, quote, the company anymore. You are the company. And what that means is you have to have all the answers, not some, not most. You have to have all of them. So don't consider going into anything where you're going to be at the top of the food chain if you are not prepared to deal with all the issues and have all the answers. You're not going to be able to call who you used to work for anymore. You got to have that. Now, if you've done that and you've done your due diligence and you're ready to, okay, I'm loaded for bear, I got all the supplies I need, and if the crap hits the fan out there, I'm ready. And then eventually at some point, you just got to get out there. At some point, you have to get out there.
Yeah, man, it's scary, but it's doable. You just got to.
It's only scary until you get the hang of it. Everything in life is scary until we get the hang of it. And that's my job is just to help shepherd you all out there so that you're not scared to get started. Hopefully you get some confidence under you, take on some new challenges. But everything is scary the first time around. And eventually it stops being scary.
Yeah. So I told him about the oil change. I'm like, just show me once, bro, and I'll do it. Got it. Just show me once, and then from after that, I can do it.
Well, definitely let me know how that turns out for you here. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, and I know it's kind of thrown some of you, because it's like, well, Jason told me this, and you kind of feel like, okay, well, he took me from, I was making $40,000 and now I'm making $140,000. It's just like, hey, this is great. And what do I do next? And I know that's because a lot of you are lacking direction. You're lacking a grand plan. I'm just trying to get you out of a point where you're struggling. At some point, you have to have a direction for your life. Remember the fellow who called in at the beginning of the program? Okay, he's making six figures. All right, he's got some money coming in. Okay, he owns some properties. Great. First thing I asked him, okay, you need to have a 1-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. Did you notice I didn't tell him what the plan should be? Well, you need to get a banker and a CPA. You notice I didn't tell him what they should do. At some point, you have to choose your life. All I want is for my people to be in a position where they can choose it. I didn't tell the young man he shouldn't have started the hookah shop. I didn't tell him that. I'm just saying, understand what you're getting into. I didn't say he shouldn't do it. I didn't say close it down. I didn't say it was a dumb idea. I'm just saying, well, don't be surprised if people feel some kind of way when you do it. But yeah, I want to get you into a position where you're in charge of your life. I want to get you into a position where you're running it. And then you can make whatever decision you wish to make. But let's be very, very clear how your story ends. I want to be very clear about this. Your story doesn't end with Jason Black telling you where you're going to go next. The story ends with you choosing yourself and choosing where you go. That's where your story ends. Jason, where do I go from here? Wherever you wish to go. I hadn't really thought of going anywhere before you said something. And from here, you will be in charge of exploring. I did all this when I was a young man. I explored these things. I'm able to help you get started. But at some point, you have to become the explorer. You have to take on the new challenges. You have to be unafraid of change. You have to be unafraid of risk. And hopefully I get you to get your weight up enough that you realize, hey, I'm going to hit setbacks. There are going to be some things that knock me down. But I've got the ability to get back up. It doesn't matter what happens to me. I'm going to get back up in the event I do get knocked down. Because there's no guarantee you're going to get knocked down. But if you do, you're ready to get back up again. It's not like when you was making $30,000 or $40,000 and it's a calamity. If you've done your due diligence, keep your financial cushion, stay focused and disciplined, there isn't anything that's going to come around that corner that you can't handle. Because we have put together a game plan and we've done our due diligence and put ourselves in the best position. And even if what comes around that corner knocks you flat on your ass and takes everything you've got, now that you've done it once, you've got the confidence that you can do it again. Even if you lose your truck, even if you lose your brokerage, even if you lose your business, you can get back on your feet again. I was 22 years old when it happened to me the second time. 22. Then it happened to me again around 27. We're not going to go into my stories over and over again. We don't talk about me like that. Yes, bad things can happen to you, but you know what? Once you get the hang of it, then you realize, you know what? I can, no matter what happens, even if I lose everything, I can rebuild it because I've got faith and confidence in me. Nobody else can convince me I can't do it now. I believe in myself. So you can do whatever you want to. I know that I'm the source of this success. That's all. That's my only purpose. My only purpose is to get you all to that point where you have confidence in yourself that you can do whatever. So yeah, go get your CDL, get your owner operators, start a fleet, start a brokerage, whatever. Whatever you want to do, go for it. Make sure you've done your due diligence. Make sure you understand everything. And after that, remember what I told you about IT and whatnot. Don't sit around just wringing your hands over what you're going to do. At some point, choose a damn direction and go. And when you get down the road, you will make it the right. If something goes wrong, you'll make this the right direction. You will make this become the right direction. And that's called life, man. That's called life. It's not preordained. Sometimes you get into things and whatnot. And it's like, okay, this wasn't exactly what I bargained for and whatnot, but I'm going to make this sucker turn out right. Because you don't get anywhere in life by starting over from zero all over again. Every time you have to start from zero all over again, you're losing. You want to make sure that you're not doing that. And the best way to do that is not doubling back. Pick a direction, put your all into it, and if something goes wrong, we will make it the right decision. That's called being an alpha, by the way, because that's power. That's real power. Just had a few things on my mind here tonight, so we've been broadcasting for a while here. A bunch of folks are going to get up here in a little bit and be like, wow, Jason, we're back on again? Yes, while you were napping, we were making things happen over here. So I want to thank you all for joining us here tonight. Hey, if you're not members of my Patreon, we're going to be having a special program today, especially for the men. Especially for the men. If you're members of my Patreon, you want to check in here 12 noon Central Time. You want to be here for this one. If you're not members of my Patreon, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. I can't say exactly what's going to go down. I am going to say right now, if you are a member of my Patreon, you want to be there for today's program. You want to be there. Don't miss it. You're going to be mad. You're going to be upset. Don't say you weren't warned. You're going to miss it. So, fair warning. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hey, thanks to all of you here who threw a little something in the till for the super chat and the Cash App. Thank you very much for that. It's always good to know that you appreciate what we're doing here. A lot more coming here. So stay tuned for that as well. This concludes our After Hours of the Business. I'm your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black, and all my brothers and sisters from around the world. Handle your business, y'all. Handle your business, or your business is going to handle you.